Morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wait for some people to get on here, and we'll get right into it. What up, Lacey? How you doing? Kyle, what's up? Beth, how you doing? Israel Perez, how you doing? What's up, Gil? How's everything? Good morning, Brother Yin. Joe DePola, good morning. Manuel Cintron, good morning. How you guys doing? Ramel Hagens, good morning. Sean Battaglia, good morning. So I want to wait for a few more people to get on here. And if you can, share the live within the group. Share the live. Now, my group is considered a group for MapStoa or for bus operators in general. But we do have other divisions on here who I accept. And we're gonna get into my views a little bit, and just tell basically a story like it is. But getting started, I wanna just say something that I was thinking about this contract vote. Right now, the contract vote is upon us. As a union, there has been a growing disparity regarding the basic inner workings of our union. Our contract is broken down into grievance and discipline, wages and benefits, and divisional issues. The divisional issues I'm speaking of is the negotiating tables we actually sit on. So, in our when we're in negotiations, me being from MapStoa, I sit on the Department of Buses table, and the only reps from the TWU are from TA Surface, MapStoa, and MTA Bus. In other words, we negotiate for the Department of Buses. The only tables where all departments are negotiating together is grievance and discipline, and the main table. So I wanted to clarify that, because when I went around the depots, it seemed like a lot of people didn't know that when we negotiate separately by department. In the Department of Buses, we get all the Department of Bus reps and we negotiate together. Now, with that being said, I don't negotiate for RTO. And I don't negotiate for stations. I don't negotiate for any other division except for the Department of Buses, because that's where I'm from. And as you know, if you look in the contract, each section of the contract is broken down by division. All right? So, starting off about the contract, there's people who feel strong about the contract, and there's people who don't feel so strong about the contract. But standing together in unity, what does unity look like? When people go on a rampage and want to call you stupid, or want to call you and all kinds of names because of what you believe in, is that unity? I mean, we can simply just go on and debate the issues of what's what without all the name calling. And if you choose to vote no, then that's your choice. But if you choose to vote yes, that's your choice too. I just happen to be the one that supports a yes vote. Right? Unity doesn't look unity. In order to be unified, you got to be able to be respectful in your conversations and your declarations on what you're trying to bring across the table, right? And that's just simple as that. We have to be unified at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, we got to go out and still fight the transit authority, fight the MTA. That's what we're gonna end up be doing, because in the let me can everybody hear me first of all? Just tell me if you can't hear me. Good morning, Manuel. Okay, so unity doesn't look like us fighting like cats and dogs on social media in front of management, because everybody knows that management is on some of these pages. I definitely vet my page to make sure there's nobody from management on my page, so you can be expressive if you want to be expressive about management or whomever. But that doesn't necessarily prevent some rat from going to take their cell phone and showing it to a manager. That's just the world we live in. But we have to be, at the end of the day, we have to be loyal to each other as a union. If you don't like certain things that's done, fine. We have an election every 3 years, and then you can make changes that way. But calling somebody out their names, like I've seen posters about our president, and they got him sitting on the toilet. They got him sitting. They call him names. They call him heavy. They say a whole lot of things about the president, which really has nothing to do with the character of the man, right? So, is that childish? Is that a narrative? I don't know. But let's get into it a little bit here. A contract in the Department of Buses. I want to really kind of get into the autonomous bus language. Now, we have a TWU International Union who fights many of the battles in transportation and in the airlines. And in other states, they have autonomous bus, which allows no person to operate a bus or a car and provide transportation to the public. We simply got that language in there to protect and make it our unequivocal and unquestioned right that they have to bargain with us and talk to us about autonomy. Because if you don't put it in the contract, then it falls under their right to manage. Now, anybody who understands contract law, and I tell you, go to research everything I'm saying. Don't just take my word for it. Internet is a very valuable tool to research. If you don't put it in the collective bargaining agreement, then it becomes management's right. Management's rights to manage. Okay? So autonomy, we see what's going on in the country, and many times people complain that the union is behind the times, the union is behind this, the transit authority is thinking 10 moves ahead. So we put this language in, thinking 10 moves ahead, and you have somebody from RTO come in and say, look at this language. This language is a sellout language. No, this language is absolute protection. This language is protection. Don't let nobody tell you nothing different. We put that there. The union. We put that there to protect our members. Every bus operator needs to know that. We did. They have to talk to us about it. And that's the whole point. You don't want to just come on the job one day and you see a robot driving your bus and we can't do nothing about it. That language is there so we can do something about it. You understand? Now moving on, RTO activists, they come into bus locations to encourage a vote no. And my question is, why don't they encourage safety actions on the train? I mean, we've created actions in the Department of Buses in order to get to a point where the MTA was willing to even listen to us, right? And then we could do so much more with the help of trains, train crews and everything. But I don't blame the train crews necessarily. I blame the activists and the reason why I blame the activists is because they only come out and they give you flyers and they tell you vote no. This is a sellout. But at
At what point do those same activists come out and hand those same flyers out and say, yo, we need to do some things here to slow down the system? And I'm not saying that you got to write the word slow down the system. What I'm saying is you read between the lines where we have to do something, where we enforce what we learn in school card, right? That's what they call it down in school card. So there's things you need to do to help out and slow things down. We don't go out there and say we going to do 19As to get a contract. It's part of what we're supposed to do on a daily basis. 19A inspection. We don't go say do a 19A inspection in order we get this contract done. No, we do 19A inspections because that's what we're supposed to do on a daily basis. Period, point blank. So it's not used as a mechanism to slow down the system. But when we do 19A inspections, it can slow down the system. Right, so all I'm asking is the RTO activists is why don't you do something similar? Why don't you encourage safety actions on the train? If you encourage the safety actions on the train, but when you come into and then when you come into the depot and you want to talk, no problem, talk. But at least have the respect of the chairman of the location. You guys are showing no respect for the chairman of the location, and then expect us to be like, yo, everything is good. No, you gotta give respect to get respect. And that's period. Every bus operator should back their chairmans in the location. You can't let people just come on the property and call your people names and things of that nature. People who fight for you. These guys ain't fighting. These guys are just coming voting no. And telling you, oh, this is a sellout this. Oh, we need to go to war. We need to, yeah, well, that's all good. We can talk about going to war. But who's going to really stand up and go to war? Who? I know I'm ready. I'm ready. I come from a household where I got to pay bills too, but I'm ready. If you want to go to war, let's sit down together and figure out a way to go to war. But don't come in here and tell me about autonomous bus language when you know nothing about autonomy. And if you look it up on the internet, and the internet is where everybody goes for research, it'll tell you what the autonomy is. Look up autonomy buses in Ohio. Look up autonomy buses in Michigan. Look up autonomy buses in Las Vegas. Some of these states are trying to pass it as law in the state. So, excuse me, pardon me, that I want to protect bus operators. Pardon me that Richie Davis want to protect bus operators. Pardon me that JP wants to protect bus operators. Pardon me that Willie wants to protect bus operators. Pardon us for that. Because that's what we're doing, is protecting the bus operators' future. Pardon me. I didn't know you want us to sell you out. At least according to the RTO, that's what they think. We want to sit there. That's what they're saying about our autonomous language. And let me be clear. I'm not talking about the hard-working men and women who operate the trains or who's being a conductor on the train. I'm talking about the activist who leads them. That's what I'm talking about. The activist who comes up with the rhetoric and leads them. That's what I'm talking about. Look up what I'm saying. Look, don't go take someone's word that they put on a little picture and circle it in red. It's very easy for you to research a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. All you gotta do is pick up your smartphone and research it. Don't fall into other people's narrative. All right. Is it a lie? Or is it a narrative? What's the difference? All right, let me go into the definition of what a narrative is, because I don't think people really know. All right? I mean, we hear the word all the time, but people with psychological education use psychology against you all the time because they feel you don't know. Right? They feel you don't know. A narrative is an account. It's a story. It's a tale. It's a chronicle. It's history, it's a description. Basically, a narrative is a story that you write or tell someone, usually in great detail. A narrative can be a work of poetry. It's often a narrative is meant to include the whole story. But we all watch the news. We watch Fox. We watch CNN. Everybody have a different narrative. A lot of times we have to search around to get the true narrative, the true story. And that's the bottom line. Right? Now, is it a lie or is it a narrative, and what's the difference? When I came out of that executive board meeting, or when I showed up at the executive board meeting in the morning of December 5th, I had my TWU jacket on. I went to get my breakfast. I was greeted by the media. The media asked me questions about, is this a gift, a Christmas gift? And the Christmas gift was that we don't have to go on strike. Not that the contract was a Christmas gift. The gift was that we didn't have to go on strike in this holiday season. So we went to the executive board meeting, and we went and spent well over 2 hours going over the contract. 21 pages we went over, and we look at it on the screen, right? And then now there's a narrative that's saying, well, we didn't have the contract in our hand. And that part of the narrative is true. We didn't have a contract inside of our hands to read. We had a contract on a board, on a bulletin, on a screen, and we went through every single page and asked questions. That's why it took 2.5 hours, maybe a little bit longer. But we went through the contract. So for anybody who says that we did not go through that contract and questions wasn't asked and we didn't go back to certain things and read those things, they're lying. They're lying. I went there with that, with the notion, because I wasn't feeling good about things. I was like, if we don't get something good, I'm gonna vote no. That was what I was gonna do. Me and the executive board, my executive board counterpart, Claude Marshall in the Bronx, Harriet in Manhattan. Our other brother, he was on vacation, so he wasn't there. Tim, he was on vacation. So, we looked at it, and as we was looking at it on the board and taking notes, we took notes. I didn't just sit there and look at a board and say. I was taking notes as the things were going on, because that's my job, to take notes, right? So I took notes, and then I felt it was good enough to bring to my bus operators. I felt that. So, going back, is it a lie or is it a narrative, and what's the difference? The difference is a narrative, sometimes people are telling their own story, right? They're telling a story. They're taking bits and pieces of a story to create a story and turn it into their narrative, which in truth becomes a lie, right? Because they're not telling the whole story. They're not telling the truth. And by the way, a person who can speak a narrative on an issue that they didn't even attend means that they're telling another person's story. So how could they tell another person's story, claim it to be true or false, and it wasn't there? That's still mind-boggling to me. But this is the world we live in. All right? I've always been a stand-up guy. I made mistakes in my life. But I've always been honest with my members. Always. So, is it a lie or is it a narrative? What's the difference? I'll say it again. The difference is if somebody is telling both sides of the story. If you're telling the whole story and then you come up with your conclusion then that's your narrative, and that could be your truth. Understood. My truth may not be your truth, but it doesn't mean that it's not true. Right? Now, ignorance versus the truth. A lot of people in this world are ignorant to a lot of different things. And ignorance, and I've said this in other videos, ignorance is looked at as a curse word. It's not. Ignorance is just not knowing. That's the bottom line. Now, sometimes people take advantage of people who don't know. So now I say ignorance versus truth. A lot of people could be told the truth. I'm telling you the truth. A lot of people could be told the truth. But because a lot of people don't know, they can be easily persuaded through other people's narrative. Going back to the subway guy who came up to Michael J. Cordipo, and they talked about a time in his bus. They said, we sold it out. So now it just raises everybody's eyebrows. What? What? They sold us out. What? That's ignorance versus, that's an example of ignorance versus truth, because people don't really understand. So they use your own ignorance against you, but it ain't true. The truth is what I said earlier. The autonomy is put there to protect you for the future. Look it up. Look up what I'm saying. MTA Bus. All right? There's people in MTA Bus that say, I'm voting no because we ain't got no, we didn't get an OATA contract. But in the contract it says continued discussions. There's always going to be continued discussions. But MTA Bus, and those are my brothers over there. I got friends over there. Those are my brothers over there. But in MTA Bus, they have a lot of work rules over there that they're not willing to give up either. And you saw that at the negotiating table between the division chairman and the vice president. Vice president might have been willing to talk about some things where the division chairman wasn't willing to talk about some things. So I don't know if that's a reflection of the members over there where they don't want to give up certain things to come to the OATA way of life. But let me tell you something. We had bus consolidation back in 2002, right? And we were standardized at the TA level. And everybody paying attention, when we were standardized at the TA level, we didn't really like that because it changed a lot of our work rules down to the TA level, because we've had a lot of money injections into our work rules that, and I'll just give you one example and move on. In MAPSTOA, when we worked a holiday, we was getting paid double the blueprint of a print. In the transit authority's way, you get whatever the holiday is and plus 8 hours. Those are examples of work rules changes. Now, for half of our membership, or more than half now, anyone hired after 2002, December 16, 2002, you get paid the way the transit authority gets paid. And on my side, I was hired in 1994. I get paid double the blueprint. Those are considered work rules. So I'm telling you, MTA Bus, look and see what the work rules that y'all are willing to give up, because you guys got some good work rules that the transit authority want to come after. Case in example, transit want to come after your salary cap. Us in the Department of Buses right now, without this raise, we're at about $153,000 as a salary cap. MTA Bus does not have a salary cap at all. But the New York City Transit does want you to have a salary cap. They don't want you to be able to make as much money as you can. I'd rather have your work rule where we didn't have a salary cap. So, consider work rules. Talk to your reps. See what's really going on. Don't fall into other narratives. When they try to change the conversation, when you enlighten a covert sign, they have no idea what they're talking about. Now, there's a lot of times where I've been into discussions and I've been into debates. There's no secrets. They talk about me on Progressive Action. They talk about me on other pages. And I've asked one question. I've asked, and it was respectful. I asked, what is pattern bargaining? And how does it apply today? And there was a video made, and then in the video, I'm dumb. I'm just a soldier. I'm an ass kisser. All of these things come out. Why? What are we changing the conversation now? What is pattern bargaining? And then pattern bargaining was read in the video, and it was Wikipedia definition. No. Let's get smarter than that. Pattern bargaining. We got patterned to NYC in 2009 arbitration award. We were patterned to them. It was the economy was considered bad, and we got patterned to the city, and we ended up getting decent wages for the time the economy wasn't supposed to be doing that good. However, right now, we are in a vote to vote yes or to vote no. The alternative and the final destination would be arbitration, because none of us are ready to walk off the job. Okay, let's keep it real. But let's just say send it back to the table. You could send it back to the table. Transit will say, okay, let's go through the process. Let's go call it impasse, and let's go to arbitration. The arbitrator is going to look at what the city has been getting, maybe, or worse. But that's pattern. That's what's everybody that's going and looking at the wages and benefits, because let's be careful here. Everybody is looking at wages, and I understand the price and the cost of living in New York City is very high. So I understand why everybody's looking at wages. But an arbitrator is going to pattern you to New York City. And for those who will tell you, and I'm telling you again, they're using their narrative, those who will tell you that that's not true, then I ask you to ask this question. Why was we patterned in bad years, and now the economy is considered good now? Why wouldn't we be patterned? We was patterned in 2009. Why wouldn't we be patterned in 2019? Right? To the same city. Why wouldn't we? So they have no idea what they're talking about. All right? I got the experience here. They get the narrative is that they're feeding you guys is not even their own narrative. Trust. Anyway, we can have a conversation offline. I didn't want to be too long. I didn't want to lose people. I will answer your questions. I'm not here to sell you anything. But I do agree that the contract is good. And I do agree that there's the issues like the emergency room. I understand people's issues with that. The prescriptions going on. I understand those issues. Right? However, medical costs are going up, and we have to make a decision which direction we want to go medically. Do we want to raise the percentage that we already pay for medical, or would we want to do a dollar amount on something what the city of New York is already paying? And they're paying more. They're paying $150 on the average. I've seen the city paying $150 for emergency room visits. All I'm asking you to do is do your own research, and we can talk. All right? You disagree? That's fine. I'm not going to delete you off my page for disagreeing. I'm not going to talk bad about you for disagreeing. That's not the world I live in. I'm too old and too experienced for that. I live in a world of respect. All right? Not one of these young kids that just fly off with the mouth. I talk facts, and that's what I live by, my facts. You guys be safe. One love to everybody.